Hey Munchkins, you probably read the title by now and you're probably thinking back-to-back book reviews? What's going on here? Well, this book is a lot smaller than the other books I've been reading, and it's a lot easier to read these books because they're smaller. So, yeah, that's the universe we are living in right now. The smaller book universe. That, and this is the first book of the House of Night series, Marked. And remember, spoiler alerts, because I like spoilers. So it begins with a girl named Zoe. Zoe is a normal teenage girl, and she has a snobby best friend, and she has a guy friend that doesn't understand what ex-boyfriend means. Yeah, he doesn't understand what ex-boyfriend means. So, anyways, she gets tracked, and the tracker marks her. The secret thing about the marked part of the thing is the mark is a crescent moon in the middle of your forehead. Now, this mark, when it is filled in, you are an adult vampire. If it's filled in with tattoos around your face, you're an adult vampire. When you're a fledgling, it is hollow. Now, this is a thing about this book that I love, is you make the change or you die because your body rejects the change. You don't know when you're going to die, because one second you're fine and the other second you're dead. That's pretty much what I like about this book, is it's so dark because you don't know who's going to make it. You don't know who's going to change. And that's the thing about this book, is you don't know if people are going to die or people that are going to live throughout the whole entire book series. And when you figure out that somebody's dead, you're going to cry like a little girl. I don't do that. I'm kind of just like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. But anyway, she gets marked. Her parents, she goes over to her parents' house, like she drives along to her parents' house, and her parents are douchebags. Well, actually, her stepfather is, because her real father left her when she was about 5, and her mom remarried to a douchebag, but that's a whole nother story. So she drives over to her grandma's house. She gets into a car accident. She walks the rest of the way to her grandma's house. She collapses in the middle of a lavender field because her mom lives in the middle of nowhere with a lot of lavender, because she lives at a lavender farm. And I keep stuttering, but that's okay. And yeah, so she kind of has this weird dream. It's kind of like a vision kind of weird thing happening. I don't know, you probably have to be high to understand it, but I kind of understood it myself. So yeah, anyway, Nyx, the goddess of marked vampires and goddess of night, she comes into this spiritual thing where you kind of have to be high to understand it, and she talks about her being different, like telling Zoe that she's going to be different because she is the first daughter that is ever going to be, like, she's going to be her first daughter, which is completely a lie, because if Nyx is a goddess, you know she has a lot of children, because one, goddesses and gods are whores. They will have sex with anything, and you know it. If you read or study any mythology, it is true. But anyway, so she, Nyx at the end kisses her at the forehead, kisses Zoe's mark, and then all of a sudden Zoe wakes up, and she's in a clinic at the House of Night, the school that teaches fledglings how to survive when they complete the change, and they help them if they don't complete the change. It's kind of like they're teaching them to become better vampires, even though they know half of the people are going to die, which doesn't make any sense, but I think it's a cool feature of this book, is you don't know who's going to die and you don't know who's going to survive. But anyway, she wakes up at the school, and she wakes up to her mark being filled. For some reason, she's still a fledgling, but her mark is filled in, and she feels like a freak. But anyway, she meets her roommate. She kind of goes through this thing with her grandma, blah, 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 more boring stuff. So she meets her roommate, Stevie Ray. She she's very country-like. She's very, very country-like. She's from Texas. And, well, she came to that house of night where somewhere in some place, I really don't remember the place. I know I should have written this down, but I didn't want to. She meets Stevie Ray's friends, and then she meets her worst enemy, Aphrodite. Now, this is the thing that I like about the school, too, is when you enter the new life, when you become a fledgling of the marked vampire community, you can change your name whatever the hell you want to. But why would you name yourself after the goddess of love when she was like, I don't know. I have so much things to say about that, but it doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, Aphrodite is actually a high priestess in training. A high priestess is actually the principal of the school. So yeah, she's a high priestess in training, and so she is the leader of the Dark Daughters and Sons. Now, the Dark Daughters and Sons are kind of like cheerleaders. They're supposed to be like, yeah, being a vampire rocks, but in reality, they're just douchebags. I said it. But yeah, they're just really mean, and they don't really care about anybody but themselves, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, the high priestess of the school, I can't pronounce her name worth crap, so I'm probably just going to put it in the screen somewhere. But she tells Aphrodite to let Zoe join the Dark Daughters because, well, she's kind of special in her own way. She has a filled-in mark, and later on in the book, when she goes to her first ceremony, and that every ceremony is at the full moon, because that is when every night creature is the strongest. That is when Nyx is the strongest, and that is when they do the ritual, and they do a circle. And the circle is actually a pentagram, and it involves around elements. So they have a candle for fire, they have a candle for water, they have a candle for air, they have a candle for earth, and then they have a candle for spirit. Now, spirit is the top, and I don't know what the rest are, but it's in that order. They always kind of do some kind of order, so you can do it out of order, but that's the order I feel like putting it in. But every time they called one of the elements, Zoe would feel something completely weird, and she figured out that she can control those elements, which is kind of cool and kind of weird at the same time. But in the end, Aphrodite, she brings the Dark Daughters and the Sons to a place. She does the circle, does a different ceremony for a different thing. It's kind of like the winter solstice kind of thing, and but for vampires. And she summoned everything wrong, so evil spirits or demons started coming after her, and they had to sacrifice Zoe's ex-boyfriend, but her kind of new boyfriend, Eric Knight, which I forgot to mention. Well, Zoe takes care of that, and then the high priestess was hiding in the shadows, and then Aphrodite was like, oh, you foiled my plan, and then Zoe becomes the leader of the Dark Daughters. That is like a long, long story short. In the end, this book is a very good book. But if I can sum it up to a couple of words, it's definitely better love story than Twilight. Yep. If I can sum it up with those words, I would. But even though this book isn't really a love story yet, but it does kind of turn into a love story. But yeah, I give this book a 10 out of 10. I definitely recommend it for you guys. You definitely need to start the series, and the only other thing I've got to say is if you liked what you've seen today, remember to subscribe or click that annotation. Remember to like or dislike, share, and favorite, and the only other thing I've got to say is keep on reading, my Autobots, Decepticons, and Munchkins of all types, and I hope you guys have a great day. I know I was kind of rambly, but no script again. So, again, I'll see you later, guys. Bye!